The moment everything broke, I was kneeling on the living room floor tying my son's shoelace. He looked up at me with those wide, innocent eyes and asked, "Dad, what does sloppy second mean?" My fingers froze on the lace. A strange coldness crawled up my spine. I forced a smile I didn't feel. "Where did you hear that?" He shrugged, distracted by the cartoon playing in the background. "Mom says it sometimes. On the phone. She laughs and says, 'He's just the sloppy second anyway.'" For a second, the room went silent. No television. No traffic outside. No sound except the slow, deliberate beat of my heart. I kissed his forehead, sent him back to his toys, and sat there on the carpet long after he'd left. Some betrayals arrived like thunder. Mine came in the voice of my 7-year-old son. The woman he called Mom was once the center of my world. I met Vanessa 14 years ago in a coffee shop downtown. She was sharp, polished, the kind of woman who made everyone else in the room look dimmer. She laughed at my bad jokes, touched my arm when she spoke, and looked at me as if I were the only man alive. Back then, I believed in timing, fate, all the pretty lies people tell themselves when they fall in love. We built a life that looked perfect from the outside, a beautiful home, a smart, healthy son, dinner parties, vacation photos, anniversary posts, the kind of marriage people envied. But perfection is often just good lighting. The cracks started small. Late-night conference calls, weekend work trips that somehow required designer dresses and perfume she never wore for me. Her phone became an extension of her hand. Screen down, password changed, smiles typed into the dark. At first, I told myself I was being paranoid. Then came Los Angeles. 3 work conferences in 4 months. Same hotel. Same vague explanation. Marketing summit. Executive retreat. Client networking. She always returned with expensive gifts for our son and a coldness in her eyes that no amount of jet lag could explain. I didn't confront her. I watched. People think rage makes you reckless. Real rage makes you patient. The first real clue came from a receipt tucked inside her handbag, a private car service in Beverly Hills. Pickup, the Marlowe Grand Hotel. Drop-off, Bel Air. No corporate office address. No conference center. Just a mansion district known for old money and quiet scandals. I hired a private investigator the next morning. I still remember his face when he slid the photos across my desk. Vanessa stepping out of a black SUV. Vanessa entering penthouses. Vanessa laughing beside men twice my age. Dressed in tailored suits and wedding rings. Rich men. Powerful men. Los Angeles elites. And then the final report. Her work conferences were a cover. She wasn't attending events. She was the event. A discreet, high-end escort service catering to wealthy businessmen, celebrities and politicians passing through the city. Exclusive. Invitation only. 5 figures a night. I stared at the pages until the words stopped looking like words. Then I turned the page and saw something worse. A message thread. One of her clients had written, "Can't believe your husband still doesn't know he's the sloppy second." That phrase. The same poison that had reached my son's ears. The heartbreak lasted exactly 1 night. By morning, all that remained was clarity. Vanessa had mistaken my silence for weakness. That was her first mistake. The second was underestimating how carefully I had built our life. Every major asset was in trusts. I had established years earlier after inheriting my father's estate. Legally shared on paper. Protected in reality, I spent the next 3 weeks moving with surgical precision. I copied every message, every bank transfer, every booking. Every wire payment routed through shell accounts. I handed everything to my attorney. Fraud, marital misconduct, financial deception, possible tax violations, and because some of her clients were married public figures, I knew exposure would be the blade that cut deepest. But revenge is not about chaos. It's about timing. I waited until the night she returned from Los Angeles. She walked in rolling a silver suitcase, smelling of expensive perfume and airport champagne. She smiled at me like nothing had changed. "Conference ran late," she said. I nodded. "Sit down." Something in my voice made her pause. She sat across from me at the dining table where we had celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. I placed the photographs in front of her one by one. Her face drained of color. Then the bank statements. Then the printed messages. Then the legal documents. Divorce papers. Asset separation orders. Temporary custody motion. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I leaned forward. "You let our son hear you call me that." For the first time in years, she looked afraid. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I almost laughed. "It's exactly what I think." Then I gave her the final blow. "By tomorrow morning, your clients' wives, their attorneys, and 2 federal investigators will have everything." Her breathing turned shallow. "You wouldn't." I looked her dead in the eyes. I already did. That was the moment I watched her understand the architecture of her collapse. Not anger, not sadness. Terror. Because she finally saw what I had become. Not the husband she mocked. Not the fool she lied to. A man who had waited. A man who had documented every lie. A man who had already won. The fallout was spectacular. Her service ring was dismantled within weeks. 3 of her wealthy clients settled quiet divorces worth millions. One executive resigned before the scandal broke publicly. Vanessa lost everything she thought she had built. The house, access to our accounts, her reputation. Most importantly, custody. I didn't destroy her. I simply removed the walls she had hidden behind and let the truth do the rest. Months later, my son asked me why Mom moved away. I told him the only truth he needed. Sometimes people make choices that hurt the people who love them. He nodded and went back to playing. Children heal faster than adults. I'm still learning how, but every night when I sit in the quiet of this house, I don't feel grief anymore. Only relief. She spent years making me feel like I was second. In the end, I became the last man standing. And that, I've learned, is far more satisfying than revenge itself.